I'm Tara Howe, the Transition Program Director for Vocational Rehabilitation. And so core teams have been around for many years. And the purpose has always been to bring the different agencies and community partners together around how to best support students as they face transition and going forward to make sure that they have the skills and the resources to be successful. What I'm really excited about is that every year the core teams and the core team event gets bigger and more inclusive. Every year we add more partners, more representatives from the different community organizations and state agencies, schools, and we're at this point of recognizing, okay, so now we understand what the resources are, so what do we want to do to make it even better? This was the third year of our Interagency Core Teams Collaboration event. We held it up at St. Michael's. Over 200 people attended from across the state, representing many different state programs, community programs, schools. We had a keynote speaker by the name of Rich Luking, who's a nationally recognized subject matter expert on school-to-work transition and employment for individuals with disabilities. A lot of times in small communities, there are students that there's multiple partners working with, along with the schools and along with folk rehab. So what makes the most sense is to really get together and speak as a team around how do we do this in the best way.
But when the student's not doing what they want, I have community partners I can reach out to say, you know, if they're getting money for going to school but they're not showing up and nobody knows it,
right,
I can turn around and say, hey, they're not showing up, and then a little bit of pressure could be applied for them to get back in the door.
And we were able to work out, I mean, I feel like we've come a long way, and we've worked out our relationship with each other, and we can say to each other when this is working or not working.
We also had, and a big part of the day is providing space and some direction and structure for core teams to come together, look at their last year together, see what they've been able to accomplish, what they wanted to accomplish, and where are they in this process, and what do they see the next year, what are their specific goals, what's their vision, what's their mission around working together.
So I would just echo and again empathize with where Ms. King's coming from the school's perspective. You know, the onus of funding in regards to transition services and planning is on the schools. And we all know that that's limited.
right.
And we all know that in terms of staff, with what we're dealing more and more on a daily basis in regards to trauma and all these other issues, that staff is also becoming a much more scarce, resource.
I think for our local core team, there's a wealth of resources in our region, and when I first started out here, I wasn't aware of a fraction of those. So it was good to understand all the different agencies so that we're not duplicating effort, so that we make successful transitions for students into other services, and just kind of have that continuum of services after high school.
What I found most valuable is that people come together and they share resources and ideas, and most importantly, they work at collaborating to improve transition outcomes for youth with disabilities. It's been wonderful to be part of it.
So the beauty of the core teams is really around developing relationships locally, because if those relationships aren't in place, their local structure and the system that they have to help a student go from school, high school, to being ready for life after high school, whether they're going on to college or going right into the workforce, those systems can be really complex and nuanced, particularly for kids with intensive needs. So the relationships at the local level have to be really solid.
Right.
And those core teams are how the relationships get built, and that's why we want them.
I mean, I was fortunate several 15 years ago to be dropped into, in my direct service life, into a very functional core team. So I thought it was really cool as a service provider to show up at a table. We had monthly meetings with school folks and really be able to be a resource for them in transition planning. They'd be, sort of stuck in schools and saying, we need help with A, B, or C, a lot of times around employment or even skill assessment stuff. And we as service providers can say, oh, we do that, we do that all day long. We can help you there. So I get a kick out of that organic process of these people from different disciplines, from different corners of life, coming together and sharing their, expertise to solve a problem together or to look at an issue together. And it gets stuff done too. I don't. That's another thing about me.
Right.
You get these teams together and things happen.
The core team in my local area has been phenomenal. Communication flows very smoothly. I'm fortunate to be nearby to the local voc rehab office, but it's been an asset for me. I'm about a year into the role now. Actually, today is my 1-year anniversary, and it's been amazing for my training and development, ultimately with the goal of serving the students as well as possible, and the individuals. The wraparound supports are just amazing. To be able to sit down with a student, do work, have them graduate and not have it end there, but have somebody pick up, have somebody involved along the way, have it flow smoothly to another provider. It gives us a forum to share resources, share ideas, bounce pitches around, not step on each other's toes, which is another piece, is we're all sharing similar territory, and we all have the best interest of the community in mind. So how do we piece that out to best serve the community on the whole? It makes my job easier. Now I'm here to help other people. I bend over backwards for somebody and then they reciprocate that favor. So I know that I've got help. If I can't figure it out, I know that I have 5 or 6 people I can ask right away.
Our team is actively working on 3 more trainings or gatherings this year where we're going to be discussing work-based learning. And we're going to be doing another one on post-secondary education, and we're going to be inviting speakers in so everyone can kind of get up to speed about what we have going on in the state. And lastly, we're going to be working on resources for summer for youth, and that'll probably be our last one.
I think over the last few years, we've really tried to target how are we, there's so many individuals that would benefit from our services that aren't approaching us for the services or aren't even aware that these services exist. So we've tried to not duplicate efforts in outreach, but instead of kind of collaborate to find meaningful times when we can connect with individuals and families instead of just presenting to the high schools or hitting up all the local agencies.
Ooh, right now we have the Transition Fair, Washington County Transition Fair at Spalding High School, November 16th in the gym. So that's a big one, connecting everybody to existing resources that can continue with or after high school, things that they can engage in now, even if they don't want to engage now, that they know are there if they need them.
I think it's kind of twofold. It's one, it's rare that you get together with all the people from across the state that do very similar things. So it's nice in that sense, camaraderie. And then it's also good because I think it refocuses our core group. We can all get kind of lost in the day-to-day, and we come together once a month and pick up where we left off last week. And every year this kind of refocuses us on, what did we want our goals to be last year? Have we met those? What progress have we made? Have our goals shifted, or are we still identifying next steps? So.
The great part of being part of the core team is that I know all the different agencies that will meet the needs of my students. A great example is I had a parent who asked me if I could find a mentor for her 12-year-old son. The sister is in my school, and I contacted all my contacts and couldn't find one mentor. I couldn't believe it. So coming here, there's a workshop on mentoring, and they're going to put mentoring together with students with disabilities, with students without disabilities, and try to make it a statewide thing. So it's amazing that if you come to here, you can find the things that you need.
We help the field get information about this, but we really hardly did anything, and the event sort of sells out. I mean, it's free, but we get full registration, so it's great. It's pretty cool.
Thank you very much for watching. Quick thank yous as well to Voc Rehab, the Agency of Education, the Developmental Disability Services Division, the Department of Labor, the Division for the Blind and Visually Impaired, the Vermont Family Network, the Vermont Federation of Families for Children's Mental Health, the Center on Disability and Community Inclusion at UVM, the Vermont Department of Mental Health, and the Vermont Department of Corrections. It's really the staff that make it possible. Thank you.